their influence even to the Gulf. Here is a place called Jirha. I'm sorry, this is not very clear. I can see the text, the one before. The text before. Yes. You see, Strabo wrote about that place on the eastern coast of Saudi Arabia, now called Jirha. From their trafficking, both the Sabaeans and Jirhayans have become richest of all, and they have a vast equipment of both gold and silver articles, such as couches, tripods, and bowls, together with drinking vessels and very costly houses, for doors and walls and ceilings are variegated with ivory and gold and silver set with precious stones. This is what Strabo wrote about that site at that period. Okay, next please. Okay, now we come to the 7th and 8th century AD. This is after the appearance of Islam from this part of the world, Mecca and Medina. And as you can see, Islam spread all over here, all over the Arabian Peninsula, all over here, and all over here, and up to France in Europe. This is 7th to 8th century. After that, Islam spread even further than this, especially in Asia and Eastern Europe. It hasn't been changed. Okay. Let me see the next slide, please. Okay, this we have seen already. Okay, we come now to the recent time. This is the Ottoman Empire at its greatest extent. Ottoman Empire lasted until the end of the First World War, until 1916 in France. Until that time, it was ruling this part of Europe, and it was ruling all this part of the Gulf, eastern and northern side. Now, this is very important because at this time, during the Ottoman Empire, Western Europeans were very active in the seas, and they came to the Gulf from the sea. And in fact, who defended the Gulf against Western, you call it what you call it, foreign influence or intruders, or they were the Turks, the Ottomans, with the Arabs who were living here. They could defend the Gulf and keep it out of the control of Portugal and Western nations. Okay, next slide, please. Now, we go back to geography. Now, I hope I gave you a very brief historical background about this part of the world. We go to the countries bordering the Arabian Gulf one by one. I start with my own country, Saudi Arabia. It has a long coast on the Gulf, over 600 kilometers, from Kuwait to Qatar, and south of Qatar also we have a corridor here on the Gulf. Next. Bahrain. Bahrain, this is very important. I want you to remember also, because this is a country which is totally surrounded by the water of the Gulf, because it consists of islands, and it is an Arab country. This is a very important geographical fact, in fact. Okay, next please. Now, again remember this. This is another Arab country which is almost surrounded from all sides by the water of the Gulf, except in fact for this narrow land corridor that connects it to Saudi Arabia. So we have one Arab country completely surrounded by the water of the Gulf, another Arab country almost completely surrounded by the water of the Gulf. Next. Now, United Arab Emirates has a very long coast, all the southern coast of the Gulf, and it has short coast on the Gulf of Oman. Next, and its capital is here. This is Oman. Most of Oman coast is on the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman, but this small pocket belongs to Oman, and this is very important site because it looks over the Strait of Hormuz, and this is one of the most strategical water passages in the world, because 1/3 of the oil of the world passes through this passage. If anything happens there, well, that's a big problem. Next, please. Now, Iran. Iran, in fact, has a very long coast on the eastern side of the Gulf and on the northeastern side of the Gulf. And its coast extends on the Gulf of Oman. The length of the Iranian coast from here up to here, I mean on the Arabian Gulf proper, is about 100 kilometers. 1,000 kilometers. Sorry. Next. This is Iraq, and as you see, Iraq looks over the Gulf, but with a very, very short coastline. And then you... Okay, next please. This is Kuwait. Kuwait has a very long coastline compared to its size. It has some islands as well, Bobian and Failaka and others, and you see the coast. Next please. Okay. I'm sorry this map is not very clear, but I want to show many things here also. One of the things, just see that the coast on the Iranian side is almost regular. And from this map, which is not very clear, but remember the previous maps as well, you can see that the coast on this Arabian side is not so regular. We have peninsulas, we have islands. Can you see this? Can you remember this from the previous maps? This coastline here is very regular, almost. This coastline here is irregular. It goes in and out and has so many islands, and some of these islands consist a state, in fact, the state of Bahrain. Also, this side have no rivers at all. But here, the main rivers of the Gulf is here. This is Shatt al-Arab. It's called Shatt al-Arab, where two major rivers connect together, Euphrates and Tigris, Al-Furat and Dijla. And these are the main rivers. There is a river here in Iran, also joined Shatt al-Arab, called Qarun. There are very small rivers on this side. They're not relevant, in fact. This is the major river in this region. Now, another important thing, although this map is not very clear, but it's very important. Why? Look at the relief here. Look at the land here. It's mountainous. And the mountains go very close to the Gulf. There are no plains for to promote human economic activities. Look at here, it's flat plains all over, from here up to here. This is very important. This is Zagros Mountains. Another thing, just remember it, I will need your memory in this. This is a German map, and they wrote Arabian Persian Gulf. They put the two names. Just remember this from this map. Next, please. Now, this is the population of the region. You see the red dots? Here is the main population centers. And here, and less populated centers are here. Again, notice how this coast is different from this coast, and notice the mountains here, and notice the flat plain here. Next. 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 Yes. Again, this is the population map, but it shows within the region. The Gulf is not as populated as northern Egypt, of course. But this side of the Gulf is more populated than the other side. But in general, the Gulf has scarce population, not very well populated. Next. Next, no, to the other direction, please. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, this is the air traffic in the region. As you can see, most of the air traffic on this side. Next, please. Again, this is a focus more on the Gulf. You see, most of the air traffic is on this side. This is the Iranian side. Next. This is a very important map. It shows the Gulf and it shows the deepness of the Gulf. The Gulf is a very shallow water body. Very shallow. As you can see here, the depth here is 16. And the depth here is 34. And the depth here is 102. The deepest side of the Gulf, it doesn't go beyond 300 feet. It's very shallow. Remember this. The deep side is closer to the eastern side. The shallow side is closer to the north and western and southern side. This is very important because most of the economic activities and wealth is here on this shallow side, and this shallowness of the Gulf makes it easier to exploit these resources, while it is more difficult to exploit it in deeper water. This is very important. This is and good luck for the western and northern side of the Gulf. Even Iranian activities mainly here, oil activities. Next, please. Now, when we come to the Strait of Hormuz, the deep side comes to the Arabian coast, not to the Iranian coast. And this is again another advantage for the Arabian coast. Why? Because here you need the deep side for the traffic. The traffic cannot go close to the Iranian coast. It has to go close to the Omani coast. And this is in fact a traffic map. This is the ingoing. All ingoing ships have to go like this. All outgoing ships have to go like this under the control and observation of Oman. So, within the Gulf itself, the shallow side and the Arabian side, and this is an advantage. In Hormuz, the deep side and the Arabian side, and this is an advantage. Next, please. Now this is pearling, where the people of Bahrain and Qatar and these people used to catch pearls from the bottom of the Gulf, and these are the pearling sites. Next, please. If it was not so shallow, they couldn't do that activities. It's not done in the Iranian side. This is the oil and gas wealth of the Gulf. Look at the oil, where is it, and the gas. It's mainly on this part, except for this part. All this here, it has few gas as well, but most of the oil is on this side of the Gulf. Next, please. Okay, throughout history and until now, this is, we call always, and it's called in the whole world in fact, the fertile crescent. Why? As we have seen, most of the old civilization were here and here. This has always been a fertile land until now. This now comprises all, mainly Iraq, Syria, and Palestine, and these places. This part of Saudi Arabia and Yemen have these agricultural activities. This is agricultural activities from ancient history up to now. Here, small spots, and here, and nothing on this side, because as I told you, the mountains come very close to the coast. Next, please. Now, this is not very clear, but this is if we take the area, population, export and import. The blue is the Arab countries, all the 7 Arab countries, and the darker color is Iran. For area, the Arab country is bigger. Population, Iran is bigger than all the 7 countries a little bit. Export, look at the difference in economic activities, and import, also look at the difference. Clear difference. The Arab countries export much more than Iran. Iran up to here, the Arab countries up to here, and the import here. This is very important because people you are dealing with in export and import always try to use the name that you use. This is very important. Okay, next. Okay, this if I find time, I will go this to historical evidence. One by Pliny in the very ancient time, and he called it Arabian Gulf. But this is another one. This is in the. This is a Danish. This is a Danish traveler who came to the Gulf area and wrote, "Our geographers are wrong, as I have elsewhere remarked, in representing a part of Arabia as subject to the monarch of Persia. In fact, Nippur, this is a traveler called Nippur, in 1700 he came to the Gulf area, and he wrote that not only the Arabs were ruling the Arabian side, but they were also settlers and rulers of the Persian side. And it's wrong for Western geographers to call this Persian Gulf." Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. I think I will stop there and go back to it. Just a minute. Anyway, I could summarize it for you now if you like, but since before Christ, Pliny used the name Arabian Gulf for this part of the world. And in the 1950s also, an English writer wrote in a book, I have copies of this, that it is wrong to call this place Persian Gulf, it should be called Arabian Gulf. Just I want to be short as much as I can, but I can come back to this. Now, I will add one more slide, if you like. We add this to the comparison between the Arab countries bordering the Gulf and Iran. Gulf Arab countries, the length of the coastline, if we put them together, they constitute more than 3/4 of the length of the coast on the Arabian Gulf, while Iran constitutes only about 1/4, the length of the coast on the Gulf. Okay, you want me to show you some of this, what Pliny and others said? Okay. Just to go quickly, this is what the ancient Greek historian wrote about a place north of the Gulf. Karax is a city situated at the farthest extremity of the Arabian Gulf. You see, this is an ancient Greek historian. Nippur, this is a Western traveler in 1792. He traveled through Arabia and the countries in the east. This is, as I said, he said, our geographers are wrong, as I have elsewhere remarked, in presenting. This it looks like an F, it's an S, presenting a part of Arabia as subject to the monarch of Persia. The rest of the articles proves that the Arabs were not only ruling the eastern coast, but also were ruling, not only ruling the western coast, but also the eastern coast. Pliny was in the first decade of AC. Now, when we come to modern time, in 1957, Roderick Owen wrote this: "No English map shows the Arabian Gulf, a matter of some concern for those who live there. A traveler has to proceed as though bound for the Persian Gulf. Will probably think that that is where he is when he reaches Kuwait or Bahrain, only to be told that that is where he isn't. Persian Gulf, these dry expanses of brown sand, those blue expanses of shallow water, and everything above, and especially everything below, are and have been and will be integral part of the Arabian Gulf." This is in recent time, in 1957. This is an English writer in an English book. I want to add also, if I may, this map just for, this is in Arabic, this is Arabian Gulf, and this is Iraq, this is here Kuwait, and this is, one of what you can do, the claim Arabistan. This is which is now north, the part of Iran, which is north of the Gulf. This has been an Arab, in fact, state called Arabistan. Even Iran, after it has an influence on it, and its government of Iran used to call it region of Arabistan. But lately, they changed the name and gave it another name. Arabistan means the land of the Arabs, and in fact, most of the people here are Arabs. Okay. Now then, if we say Arabian Gulf, then we say that because most civilizations were on the Arabian side. We say that because Arab Gulf is not a new name, as we have shown a little while ago. Pliny in that time wrote it Arabian Gulf. We say that because 7 of the 8 countries bordering the Gulf are Arab countries. We say that because 4 Arab capitals are located on the coastline of the Gulf, and the 5th on the Gulf of Oman. We say that because one Arab country, Bahrain, consists of islands in the Gulf, and another, Qatar, is a peninsula surrounded by the water of the Gulf. Qatar is except for a narrow corridor of land at its border with Saudi Arabia. We say that because of the relief, as you have seen on the map. We say that because of the depth of the water in the Gulf. We say that because of the shape and length of the coastline. We say that because the area, the resources, and the economic activity. We say that, and this is very important, I have not said until now, there is no country nowadays called Persia. So when you say Arabian Gulf, you attribute the Gulf to the Arabs, or to the Arab countries, and there are Arabs and there are Arab countries. When you say Persian Gulf, you attribute the Gulf to Persia. There is no country now called Persia. The country now, which used to be called Persia, is Iran. So, and the people of that country are called Iranians. So, Persia changed its name to Iran. So, you don't now say Persian, you don't attribute this name to an existing country carrying that name. Okay. Now, I go to the other name, which is widely used in the Western side. The Persian name. Why they call it Persian name? According to the literature, the first one who called it Persian Gulf is Alexander the Macedonian. Why? Could we see the slide, please? Could you see the slide? Not before that. Before. No, after. Yes. Thank you. You see the sea mission of Alexander the Great. We call it Alexander the Great or Alexander the Macedonian. This is his mission in 325 to 326. Alexander, as you know, came from Macedonia, which is now in Yugoslavia, which was Yugoslavia, southern Yugoslavia and northern Greece. And he came, conquered Egypt and many countries on the Mediterranean, and he came and conquered Persia, here, up to the India. And then from India, he sent, from India, not from here, he sent a sea mission to discover the depth of the water of the Gulf. So his mission came from here, and went on the Iranian coast up to here, and then Shatt al-Arab, and then Qarun, and Susa, to a place where Alexander was here. Then Alexander, in fact, knew the Persian side of it, and was interested in the Persian side of it, of the Gulf. And that's why they called it the Persian Gulf. Anyway, Europeans have always been interested in the Persian side until the discovery of oil. Why? Because this was their main passage to Southern Asia, mainly India. This was very important. Here they were not interested because this was a desert land, a very difficult environment. While here, they were more interested on this side. So, starting from Alexander and the European after that, until the discovery of oil on this side of the Gulf, they were interested on the Persian side for their own use. Okay, next slide. We see that one of the, here, could you focus a little bit? Asia, European exploration. You see here, this explanation here, we are interested in this rate, Marco Polo, 1271 to 95. He went like that, and he came, and also like this from here. You see, Marco Polo, like other Europeans, were interested on the Persian side. Okay? That's why Europeans, it's in their heritage, Persian Gulf, not Arabian Gulf. Next, please. Okay. Most of the maps produced about this area carried, of course, produced by Europe, carry the name Persian Gulf. This is not very clear map anyway. Persian Gulf. This is an old map as an example. In fact, even we, in the Arab world, use to name it, in most cases, Persian Sea or Persian Gulf, or like this. I will tell you why later on. Thank you. Next. Okay. This is an Arab map with an Arabic writing called the Sea of Faris. It means the Sea of Persia. I tell you why the Arabs called it like this, and we have been calling it the Persian Gulf until the 1960s, in fact. Why? The Arab called it the Persian Sea, and called this the Roman Sea, called this the other names. Why? They mean this is the Gulf or the sea in the direction of Persia, and this is in the direction of the Romans. And in fact, even in Saudi Arabian cities, northern part of the cities, sometimes we call Shamiya. Shamiya means Syria. That means this is a part towards the north. The southern part we call Yamaniya. Yamaniya means towards the Yemen. So, if the Arabs used Persian Sea or Persian Gulf, they used it. And they have been using it until the 60s, but mainly for this river. Okay, do you see this again? Okay, then Alexander and later on the European exploration and Western usage, as I said, have always called it